ke whakatautālai he mga aho awhiawhi nei, mo ia koe polotu ko tau ili ili Alpha Maiava. Si ko ia e takitaki he matakau po ke taha Fono ne ko amamnake ke whakahoko koe Sounds of the Moana Composer Fono. Si ko menha ia ne ko amamnake totolu ke tutala mo ia, mo e taha fuata foki ko Uluaki Kaivelata. Kai toki au kia awa ka alpha ke whakamama mai e whata nei mai hana hoko mai anga. So, whakalofali atu and very good afternoon to everyone listening in to PMNUA. This afternoon we have with us Tau Ili Ili Alpha Maiava. From the sounds of the Moana composer Fono, which we will be talking about today. But with Alpha also is a young man, a very skilled young man by the name of Uluaki Kaivelata. But I'll leave that to Tauiliili to tell us more about this young man. So first off, whakalofale here to Alpha. Tauiliili, I should say. And welcome to the program. Can I just give you a few moments to tell us about yourself and which of the Pacifica nations that you hail from? Whakawelahi.
Whakawelahi mahaka whama, whakalopalahia te ke mahua ke mataulosi, malo lava sui fua mawa manalangi e mama. My name is Taudi Ili from Maiava. I always tell people that I'm a Niuean who grew up on a different side of the tree in Samoa. My family is the Patoa family from Avasele. And my uncle Masiniua, most Niueans in their elderly ages would know this man. He used to be the chief of police. And my family have, proud Niuen. But today I speak to you on behalf of the organization called Sounds, Center for New Zealand Music. And I'll just give to my colleague the opportunity to introduce himself, and hopefully we'll move on from there. Uluaki?
Yep. Malo, Mololele, Mokuinga, Uluaki Maka, Flipai Kaivelata, and I come from Kanokupolu and Tutuanga Kava Tongata. Malo.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to have you both of the program. So if we can just kick off, Tauiliili, if you can tell us a bit more about Sounds of the Moana composer Fono, what inspired you to put this Fono together and what you're hoping to achieve from this Fono? Because it's quite a comprehensive background, if you like, in terms of our Pacifica composers. But I'll let you explain that in much more detail.
Look, basically, so like we remember when I was on your show last year, I currently represent Sounds. Sounds is the Center for New Zealand Music, set up in 1991, basically to look after the European classical musics and also jazz. And about 6 years ago, they expanded their inclusion to have Tangata Whenua, which they then have our Maori composers. And just 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, 2021, they then continued that expansion into Tangata Moana, the peoples of the Moana, those who whakapapa or heritage back to the many islands other than Aotearoa. And so we produced a podcast in 2021. It was called The Sounds of the Moana, and it was basically about the origin stories of instruments. You know, the nose flute, which the Tongans and the Samoans call fanfango, and the Cook Islands call bibakoe. The Hawaii call it ihu ano oho. And then if you remember, I don't know if you know this, but Kilikahoa or Kilikihoa is one of the Niuean names. But before that, it was also called Pohe. And the legend of Niue, when it comes to the nose flute, it was created by a lady called Matangi Nifale, who then migrated to Tonga. And according to Niuean history, she took the whangwhangu to Tonga and introduced it as so. So these are all the stories related to our music. I see Uluaki is thinking, no, that's not true. But this is this is the beauty of what we do. So the workshops, therefore, one is to introduce or showcase the whangwhangu to those who are unfamiliar with, and just to see if it interests them, because our instruments is our heritage, is our language. Some of our kids cannot speak our language, but they can sing our songs. This is why music and sounds is also part of our heritage preservation. And so the workshop is about it. It's about bringing together composers. And word composer, automatically we think, oh yeah, only those who are trained in the Papalangi School of Music. But that's not true, because there are also peoples like Uluaki and his father, the legendary Tuifonualava, who learned it by passing down generation to generation. So the composers we're calling for, wherever you live in out there, or because we're going to each of the cities, is those who are Pacific or Moana, musicians and composers, to come let us share with you what we have, and also give you the opportunity to join sounds as a Moana Pacific composer. The only reason why we include the word Moana in there, Fama, is just to make it easy for the outside world, because for you and I and all of us, when we say Moana, we know it's ourselves. But to the outside world, you have to say the word Pacific just to give them into context. So, in a quick nutshell, that is what the Sounds at the Moana Composer Fono is all about.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, Tauilili, it's also a great opportunity to explore and bring to the fore the many talented Pacifica musicians that we have, composers as well, who have for quite a while been floating around in the background. But I think you're quite right. It's time for them to show their talents and to share their talents as well with the rest of us Pacifica. So I'll leave it to you to introduce our young man here, Uluaki Kaivelata, in terms of where he's coming from and his talent as well.
Yeah, look, part of the reason why I'm working with Uluaki and his father, Uluaki will tell you that so Uluaki at his age started playing the fangu fangu at 8 years old. Which is very rare for a lot of our youth. We like to go in TikTok and do piano and all of these other stuff, but to find a young spirit willing to maintain part of our people's art, that is the reason why I got into it. But look, I'll pass it on to Waki in terms of his love for the fangu fangu and how much his father paid to bribe him so he could play it. Waki.
Malo, malo. No, yeah, it's been a great journey. Just giving back to our people, the things that we've lost, and in this context, a certain art, a certain instrument. Just really grateful to go on the Fono, the trip with Sounds. Really appreciative to Tauilili and the Sounds team for giving us the opportunity to just give back to our people what has been lost and what was once lost.
Oh,
And
excellent.
we will get a chance to play a little bit as part of our good night, good cue. But look, we want to tell you that the workshop starts on Monday, which is July 17th, and the first one is going to be in Tamaki Makaurau. And then the very next day, we're going to be in New Plymouth. We had to stop by New Plymouth because every time, Farmer, we do these things, we always miss our community in the smaller towns. So we could not stop in all the small towns, but we thought if we start with New Plymouth, hopefully the communities that are close by. We will then be in Dunedin for Wednesday, which is July 19th. We will be in Christchurch for July 20th, which that is a Thursday. And then we end up in Wellington. We've got two shows in Wellington, which is July 21st and 22nd, mainly because, as you know, the capital is very spread. And so we've got one in Porirua further out towards the Palmerston area. Hopefully the folks from Palmerston North can come down. And then we've got our last one that's going to be in the Lower Hutt. Hopefully that'll capture the rest of our community there. So that's a brief information about it. For registration, the link that you will be sharing on your our show that I've shared you, which is the Facebook for Sounds. It's Sounds Center for New Zealand Music, and Sounds with a Z as part of for people to look at. And then yeah, it's a free entry. We'll also have some tea, coffee, and some kai there to make sure that people coming to learn have got some fuel.
Absolutely, absolutely. There must be some warm cup of tea to keep everyone warm as well. So that's great. If you're listening out there, the dates that the forums will be on, you can access it too online, and I think there'll be a lot of excited people looking forward to attending that Fono, especially some of our musicians from the Pacific Islands. So, if I can hand over now to Uluaki, if you want to just tell us a bit more about the young people, our youth today, and and Tauilili was quite right. You know, instead of going on TikTok and all these other bits and pieces, it's always great to learn a skill, a traditional skill,
Yeah,
and you've done that.
yeah.
And what would you say to young people that are out there listening into this interview?
I think for me, it really uh it was always because of the interest in my culture, why I always found that it came naturally that I wanted to pick up these ancient musical instruments and learn. So I guess my message to young people around my age or the other youth is just try your best to stay connected to your roots. I know it may be hard at times, but you'll always find that there's a similarity between you and your heritage, your tradition, because that's who we are. That's our identity. So yeah, I guess that would be my message to younger people around my age. Thank
Awesome,
you.
awesome. Thank you very much for that. So I'll leave it to you to give us a demonstration on the fangu fangu.
Yeah, no worries.
Rocky, can you just quickly talk a little bit, about a minute, about the piece that you're about to play?
So I'll be doing a little piece called Golulue. So it's a Tongan song that was traditionally used for a traditional Tongan dance called Me Baki. So throughout the funnels, I'll be doing a lot of different songs for the fangu fangu, but for this one, I'll just give a demonstration of the Golulue Malo.
Malo.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Thank you. Oh, Elohi.
Thank,
That was
thank you.
awesome, Uluaki. Um, and it does take a particular skill to master that instrument, and I think you've done that quite well this afternoon. So before you wrap up, we just want to, if there's any final thoughts that you might have, Tauilili. But you know, we wish you well with this tour that you're going to do around the country, and I think a lot of people are going to be very, very interested in not only participating but also learning more about the arts and sounds from the practitioners from the Pacific.
Yeah, look, thank you again, Farmer. First of all, to PMN Niue for allowing us the time to connect with you all. Um, One of the most significant thing while we're doing this tour, just to let you know, this is the first time in the history of Aotearoa we're having this particular kind of workshop where we're focusing on composers. Now, the difference is when we say composer, our people are so used to choral songs now, church songs, that when we say composer, we think about those who compose traditional songs from villages, but it's always songs with lyrics. But as Uluaki has just demonstrated, these are also compositions. It doesn't require words. And like I say, for me, the example of how Niue was once a land that had its own fanfangu, it's the legend of Matanginifale. This is a female who said was a Niuean fangu fangu or kohe. Uh, maestro, if one would say. And this was once so Niue is quite unique, farmer, because it's I don't know whether because of the land form of Niue, but Niue is the only island where they make their nose flute out of wood as well as bamboo. So which is quite unique. But of course, this knowledge and this skill is now long gone. What we're hoping is to establish an organization where we start to explore how to bring them back. Because it's funny when the Papalangi now, when they go to relax, they go in R&R. What do? They play these sorts of songs to calm them down. And we're now following them too without knowing we were responsible for these sounds. So I urge, if you are Niwen and you are a composer of songs or music or even melodies, we'd like to see you at our workshops, absolutely free. We get to share knowledge. This is what we do in the Moana. We don't guide or block people. We share and we include. And so Sounds at the Moana is part of Sounds Center for New Zealand Music Initiative. And we're also going to be displaying other instruments, the stomping tubes. We'll also be displaying some of the pen pipes, just to remind our people of some of the wisdoms that has come from our ocean. But just from us, we just want to say, kopas ni rapa and whakawelahi mahaki to your team. Thank you for having us, and hopefully we'll come back and another interview and tell you how it all went, in the hope that next year we get more and more new wins, more and more young people to keep our cultures alive through music.
Absolutely. Please come back and talk to us how your Fono went. But again, we wish you both all the best, Tauiliili and Uluaki, with the Fonos that you'll be having around the country. And you are right. I don't think we've ever had a Fono of, like this, quite like this, within our Pacifica community. So wish you both well. Keep warm and keep the music going. Whakawelahi munuina, whawhitai tele lava.